Hi, Marika.
Hi.
Well, we're here at Van Vessem Gallery, which is Marika Van Vessem's gallery. And we're in the middle of Tiverton. We thought sitting outside in front of the gallery is an interesting idea because it is set in Tiverton. It's a really beautiful area outside of, well, in Rhode
Fall
Island,
River. Yeah.
near Fall River, but like 30 minutes from Providence, Rhode Island,
Yeah,
too.
20, 30 minutes, depending on what side of Providence you
Yeah.
come from.
And I'm an artist myself. I graduated from RISD, and I found this gallery through um, an artist. I think it was Rachel, um, but she told me about this gallery, and I found that it was the most similar to the kind of work that you would see at RISD, and we also had graphic design from Holland. There's a big um, the department focuses on Dutch design also. So I was really seeing the aesthetic was very Dutch, and it reminded me a lot of the kind of aesthetic that is celebrated at RISD.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to find this in the middle of the Tiverton
The Tiverton
area.
Woods,
Yeah.
yeah.
But originally you're from Holland,
Correct, yeah.
and
I was born there and I grew up there. I left Holland when I was about 18 or 19. And I lived in Switzerland for a while. Um, and then after Switzerland, I came to the United States in 71.
1971.
Yeah.
So till now, 2017, we're doing
40,
this.
45 years or so.
Wow. Um, and so and we can hear that we're kind of close to the highways too. There's a little bit of forest, but we're close to the highway, so it's kind of an easy trip here. It's not quite so hidden, but it's nice and hidden at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit off the beaten track. You definitely have to make it a destination.
Yeah. So and are you an artist now, or were you an artist, like a
I'm
visual
a
artist?
painter and I work with mixed media and constructions, but I have not been able to do a lot of that work because I've been running the gallery and I also did the program coordination for Sandy Woods. This is an arts and agricultural community.
Next door.
Yeah, and next door we had concerts and events, and I was in charge of booking the
Mm-hmm.
concerts. I just quit doing that. I retired from doing that because I just took too much on, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm just concentrating on the gallery, and hopefully I'll get back to my art
I'd have to
sometime.
say that this gallery is probably my favorite lately. Uh, if not one, I mean, one of the favorites, but I think it's the favorite one that I have.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. And it reminds me of a European city or town, the aesthetic of the area,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it
Um,
does have a little bit of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the shape of the houses, they're all different, and the colors, and
Uh-huh.
it
And in
looks.
some areas, and I think around where I was in Estonia,
Yeah,
and also in Connecticut, a place called Noank. So it's actually
yeah,
similar because it has sort of has a sailing feel here.
yeah.
But how often do you change your gallery shows?
Every 4 weeks, I leave the shows up for 4 weeks, and then I allow myself 1 week in between to put up a new show.
Okay.
So every 5 weeks, you get a new show.
Uh-huh. And do you have an inspiration of why you started your gallery? Is
I
there a
was very fortunate that I was offered this space by the management of the Sandwich community uh, almost 5 years ago, and I was still working then, but um, I could not do it
mm-hmm.
because it was a beautiful space, and it was something that I'd always dreamed of doing, to have my own gallery, and it came at the right time, and
Mm-hmm.
I took on the challenge, and I've been going into my 5th year.
Oh,
It's
5 years
really,
already.
yeah.
Was there anybody that inspired you that you looked up to as an artist, or somebody who told you that you would be good at a gallery as a gallery director, or?
I've worked in different galleries prior to running my own gallery here, so I had quite a bit of experience
In
working
Europe
in
or
galleries.
here?
No, here in the United States.
Okay.
And
Can you say where? Or?
yeah, in Newport. I worked for Roger King,
Uh-huh.
and I also worked for Sheldon Fine Art,
Mm-hmm.
and I also assisted quite a bit at Boulevard Gallery at the time and Fisher Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Both Fisher and Boulevard are no longer in existence, but Roger King is still there and Sheldon's still there.
Mm-hmm.
I had, prior to that, when I first moved to Newport, I had the opportunity to run a gallery in a barn on Prospect Hill Street, and that's where the gallery thing started.
Mm-hmm.
I ran that for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Until they sold the building and made condos out of it.
Oh.
The usual story. But it was a good experience, and it kind of prepared me for a lot of other things. I had a studio that I worked out of in Wickford at Shady Lee Mill for 7 years. So I did a lot of things there. Did a lot of painting and construction and.
A lot of variety.
Yeah, I had a very productive time when I was in the studio. Then my father got very ill, and I had to travel back and forth to Europe quite a bit, and I had to give up the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But then it made up with getting the gallery here.
So you made it somehow. It worked out.
Yeah, it made it work. Yeah,
good. What I like about the gallery is that you don't always show things that I think a lot of galleries that I've seen in Rhode Island, or in general, outside of New York, or tend to show things that are maybe, say, like local scenery or things that you think might sell. And I think that you're catering your work connects to another level of maybe not just things that you're just interested, for example, just to sell. Like that's not your intention or in your mind. It's like you're trying to connect with a certain psyche of a person in general.
I think that's pretty perceptive. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not driven by making money. Of course, it's nice when you sell things because you need money to keep the gallery going.
Mm-hmm.
And
but what I mean is, I think you see that there's something more important.
Yeah, there's the emphasis on working with the artist to have a space where the artist can show his work in the best possible manner. And I go to artist studios quite a bit, and I snoop around, and I find things in the studios that are likely, very often, different from series of paintings or series of work that are shown in other galleries. I try to find things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, things that the artist does in his free time, things that he did maybe 20 years ago, he or she. And I try to connect some of those things to current work that they are doing. And in talking to the artists, we usually come up with some kind of an idea for an exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
And I work very much with the artist in trying to create a show that's different from what's shown everywhere else. I try to stay away from the landscapes and the still lifes and things like that, because there are plenty of galleries around here that carry that work. There's a lot of very good work.
Though you wouldn't count it out if it's the right kind of imagery.
I wouldn't count it out if it were the right thing. But I think there's plenty of galleries that carry that work, and there's a lot of artists around this area that paint those kind of paintings, and they're all very good. I like to go a little bit more. I like to discover a little bit more. I like a little bit more challenging work, different from the norm. People that put their heart into their work. Um,
So you'd say that you're inspired by the process too.
I am,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that comes from being an artist yourself. You know what it takes to create the work, and you recognize that in the other person, and
And
you work
knowing
with